You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports. Well, we've got a little contradiction between the U.S., Antony Blinken, and what he is saying involving BRITTNey Griner and the prisoner swap negotiations that are going on with Russia. Now, last night I did a video because CNN came out with a story that came straight from Russia over the fact that they will not engage with the U.S. on prisoner swap talks before the end of this year. Okay? So now I've got to wonder, when I see this story, he went on Face the Nation this morning, Blinken did, and he claims the U.S. is still in, quote, active talks with Russia over a potential prisoner swap. So we got Russia saying, no, they're not talking to the U.S. before the end of the year. And we've got the U.S. saying, well, we're actively involved in talks. Now, as a little follow-up to that, this is what Russia said from my video last night. We do not talk about this, and we urge everybody to be silent on the subject. And so now we've got Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, doing media this morning on this very subject. This is wild. And I've got to tell you, the White House, the Secretary of State, the Biden administration, they are not helping BRITTNey Griner's cause at this point. Okay, because everything that has come out involving what Russia believes, thinks, I mean, the U.S. is literally doing the exact opposite, at least in the public eye, because Russia has requested that this stay quiet the whole time, and every other week they are giving a detailed update of what's going on. So let's get to what he said, because he's saying, oh, they're actively engaged in negotiations. Or is this just bullshit and Biden's administration's blowing smoke up everybody's ass? Okay, because Biden is getting a lot of pressure to get Griner and Paul Whelan out. Okay, you got to wonder, is anything really happening here? Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Sunday that the United States is, quote, actively engaged with Russia over a possible prisoner swap to free Americans BRITTNey Griner and Paul Whelan, who is in Russian custody. Quote, the proof will be in the pudding. Good grief. Blinken said in an interview with Face the Nation, when asked whether the Russians are serious about negotiations to release Griner and Whelan, quote, we have to see if the engagements that we've had, the discussions that we have had, produced an actual result. That's the most important thing, but we are not resting on our laurels of having put forward a proposal some months ago. We've been actively engaged over these many months to try to move things forward. Well, okay. One of the words that was coming out in this was, yes, the U.S. submitted this substantial proposal, and essentially Russia has completely ignored it. Okay? Russia has ignored what the U.S. supposedly put out there as a trade. Okay? But they're acting like, and he even said a couple of weeks ago that Russia had not really acknowledged the trade proposal. Okay? So what I've got to believe here is this is some kind of a media propaganda mission from the Biden administration to make themselves look like, hey, us as a country, we're doing all we can to get your basketball player out, because they've taken a lot of heat from various politicians and people involved in social justice causes over Griner not being home. But is anything really happening here? I've got to doubt it. I truly do. Blinken announced in July that the U.S. put forward a, quote, substantial proposal to Russia aimed at securing the release of Griner, WNBA star, and Whelan, a retired U.S. Marine. Russian media has speculated that a potential exchange would involve Victor Bout, a Russian arms dealer, serving 25-year prison sentence in the U.S. for conspiring to sell weapons to people who intended to kill Americans. Again, look, people have come out and made comments involved in having busted this guy that said we absolutely should not be letting him out. He's a national security risk, by the way. Griner has been in Russia following her arrest at Moscow airport in February and a conviction for possession of cannabis oil. We know that. She was transferred to a prison last month to a remote penal colony. Whelan has been detained since December 2018. When he visited the country for a friend's wedding, he was convicted by a Russian court of espionage charges, sentenced in 2020 to 16 years in prison. A top Russian diplomat suggested last month to reporters in Moscow that the chance of a prisoner exchange was growing, and acknowledged Bout had been offered in a possible swap, according to Russian media. But the State Department swiftly dismissed the optimism from Russia. Vedant Patel, a department spokesman, told reporters Russia has consistently failed to negotiate in good faith. Okay, that's more along the lines of what we've been hearing. And the Kremlin's failure to seriously negotiate on these issues in the established channel, or any other channel for that matter, runs counter to its public statements. Still, Blinken said Sunday, since offering the substantial proposal months ago, the Biden administration has engaged, quote, on a regular basis, and said the U.S. will not stop until the Americans are brought home. We've been engaged repeatedly in any way we can to try to advance and to see if there are different permutations of what could be achieved, what we're trying to achieve, which is to get our people home. The Secretary of State declined to provide further details of the prisoner swap or the talks with Russia, but reiterated the Biden administration's commitment to free Griner and Whelan. This sounds like propaganda bullshit. My efforts, the efforts of the entire administration, are to bring both Paul and Brittney home. Russian media has reported Moscow wants a 1-to-1 prisoner swap, though Blinken again declined to provide details of any discussion between the U.S. and Russia. Instead noted any agreement to the release of Griner and Whelan requires Russia's cooperation. The other side gets the vote in. It's just not what we want. It's what they're prepared to do. And he said, this is something we're working on almost every day. So you got to wonder what's happening here is simply they put in the offer, and every day we contact somebody over there to see if they finally acknowledged it. I mean, that's kind of what I'm taking from this. You've got Russia saying, we're not doing anything before the end of the year. You got Blinken coming out and saying, oh, we're working on this every day. But at the same time, the very next sentence says, but they haven't really seriously acknowledged our offer. What I think has happened here, and this is just speculation by me, but what I think has happened here is Russia has come back and said, we'll trade you Paul Whelan for Victor Bout, but we're not trading you both. Or we'll trade you Griner for Victor Bout, but we won't trade you both. We're not doing a 2-for-1. Now, there's been rumors of other Russian scumbags. Yeah, that's fine. The point is, the Biden administration realizes, or they better realize, that if they accept a 1-for-1 and it's not Paul Whelan and it's Brittney Griner, Paul Whelan is older, in worse health, a former Marine, and he's been over there longer and he's serving a longer sentence. If they get Griner home and leave him behind, the shitstorm that is going to start is going to be unlike anything we have seen in a very long time, because it's going to be a terrible public relations nightmare for the Biden administration if they bring Griner home and leave Wheeling over there, because it will specifically look like we just wanted the basketball player home. I mean, and F the Marine, F the guy that served our country, and all that. And by the other side, the Biden administration knows all the wokes and the mainstream media will also fry them alive if they bring Wheeling home and not Brittney Griner. That's going to be a massive shitstorm. Okay, so there is a dilemma there, and I wonder if that's not what's really happened. Okay, Russia has not acknowledged the 2-for-1, but maybe they've acknowledged a 1-for-1. And either way, that 1-for-1 will not look good on the Biden administration if they have to accept a 1-for-1. My issue is, has Biden and this administration had an opportunity to get Paul Wheeling home, and have they turned it down because Griner is not part of that? I would really like to know that. If they've had an opportunity and they intend to do a swap, which according to everything we've heard even from them, they initiated, and are they choosing to not get the Marine home because they can't get the basketball player home? I don't know. It's a lot of contradictions between both sides, and I can't help but think the Biden administration is just trying to save face and have some good PR here. Oh, look at us. Look at everything we're trying to do. While you got Russia saying, no, there ain't nothing going on because we're really not paying attention to it right now. I mean, that's it. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.